Welcome to Draw 7 TV. Matt Horst here with you alongside Andrew. You're back for another video.
I am. I'm back here to watch another exciting match.
Yeah, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a good one. An interesting matchup. So it's Entei GX against Gardevoir GX. Now, both decks a little different from what you've seen in the past with Fire or with Guardy, but it's going to be an interesting matchup nonetheless.
Looks like we've got some good variety here. You can see, is that a mulligan, I guess, off the top?
So Mason on the left-hand side on the video is playing Volcanion in this Entei GX deck, but he's focusing on Entei GX as the main attacker, which Entei's a pretty cool card, and I'm glad to see him trying something different.
Yeah, it's got that GX attack, right? That does the 150 to anything, I think, even on the bench.
That's right, yeah. And then the second attack, I believe, does the burn.
The burn, yeah. Right? It's like it does a decent amount of damage, and it does the plus 20 with the burn.
And I always think special conditions right now are just not seeing a lot of play, but I think they're pretty good. I know Raichu, I really like the paralysis stuff with Raichu, but
yeah, it'll be interesting to see because once you get the burn off, you have to opponent either has to roll out of it or get the Guzma.
Exactly. All right, here we go, guys. Two routes on Mark's side of the board. We start with a Lele on Mason's. He does get that Volcanion, which is nice. And we'll see how things shake up here. Now, I don't necessarily know the strategy of this Entei deck other than if it's similar to Volcanion, you just want to get that energy out and just start hitting hard with it.
I could see it in a way where you'd want to use like the second attack we're talking about and maybe Volcanic Heat a few times.
Sure.
I think it does. I could be totally wrong. I think it does around like 130 to 100 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think a few steam ups, I think you hit pretty good numbers, I guess, if you can do that.
Yeah, the steam up. And I do actually like the steam up ability being that kind of backup thing. It's more, okay, let's have a main basic attacker and use the steam up to buff that damage. I like that idea.
Yeah, we saw the same thing expanded with like Turbo Turtles, where you have Volcanion seeing like a supporter type of role on the bench. Yeah,
I'd actually love to see a Turtonator deck be be more successful than what it is currently, and just be straight Turtonator. That'd be cool.
Yeah, so let's see what Entei can do for us here.
So, Baby Volcanion goes on the board. There's the first Entei GX. Now, it was interesting that first turn, Mason actually could have Max Elixired there, chose not to. Maybe wanted to save it so he could put it on an Entei later. So that'll be interesting to see if that comes back to bite him later on or not.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Definitely, I guess, trying to conserve those resources.
Mark plays an energy down on the Ralts on the bench, and then Lily, for I believe he showed 3 cards. Lily, always a great card to first turn start with, drawing up to 8.
Yeah, it's crazy now. Like when that first came out in Sun and Moon Base, it was like people I don't think saw its use, but now with Tapu Lele,
you
can get it whatever. Like the first turn is really consistent now. And
it's nice also if you can't bridge it or something like that, it's a good second supporter card to use.
Yeah. All right, so it looks like a Guzma came down.
Yeah, so we've got a steam up there, and on the Baby Volcanion, actually,
and a Fury Belt.
Yeah, a Fury Belt takes the knockout.
60. That's one thing I really like about the Baby Volk, especially that thing is why it's really strong in any fire deck.
That card's, and I remember starting the game thinking, this card, I don't understand why everybody's playing this card, but I get it now. Yeah,
so yeah, not only did he take a knockout, he gets energy on the Entei. I believe so. If he didn't have fire in there, I guess not so much. But being able to accelerate energy is really good.
Mark gets that Eevee on the board. Here's the Gallade now off of Rare Candy. He's going to Premonition. Now, Mark having a bit of a slow start here. I mean, by this point, you want at least a Curlia on the board,
right,
if not a Gardevoir. So he's starting things slow, but hopefully this Premonition will get him where he needs to be on this next turn. And not sure if Mason can take a knockout on this Gallade or not. We shall see.
It'd definitely be a tall order for that, because he already has committed the Finding Fury Belt, so I don't know if Choice Band's going to... Float Stone's going to come down.
Yeah, so there he did a steam up, and then he's going to... Is that an N, I believe?
Yeah, he's going to N. I think open hand N.
Interesting. Okay. So Mark shuffling his deck there. So Mark needs a Ralts here. I can't remember if Mark plays the Remoraid, or not Remoraid, but the Octillery version or the Oranguru.
Yeah. Both have seen equal amounts of play.
Yeah, and there's arguments there for both.
Absolutely. So we'll see what happens here. It looks like he's going to a Max Elixir. Scorched Earth, okay. Being able to take out more fire energy would be nice, I guess.
I know that's something Mason really likes in his deck is that Scorched Earth. I think it's a really cool card, especially when you compare it with Mallow.
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting idea and can definitely work for you.
One thing I've thought about, too, is that the Brooklet Hill build, with decks like Vulpix taking more effect, even Rainbow Road, they're actually able to use your Brooklet Hill to their advantage. So it's almost playing to your opponent's advantage too. But with Scorched Earth, very low chance they're going to be able to take advantage of that.
Right, yeah, definitely.
So you can definitely give yourself more of an edge with that.
Put 60 damage on the Gallade. Mark draws for turn. Looks like he has several supporters in his hand, maybe multiple Guzma in his hand. Not what he wants to see right now.
Okay, good. He's going to get the Sylveon out.
Gets that Sylveon rolling, and this may be the spark Mark needs to ribbon and get those cards that he desperately needs in hand.
Yeah, I think if I'm Mark right now, I would just want to please GX that that set up Entei as fast as possible, just because it's going to be able to snipe a lot.
And so he's going to bring up the Volcanion with the, I believe, 3 retreat cost. Is that right?
Or 3. It's a heavy Pokemon.
Yeah, for sure. So that's going to stall it out a little bit. Mark is going to use the Magical Ribbon attack, and we'll get 3 cards of his choosing out of the deck. Mason plays down that Scorched Earth, and he has a Bridget in hand as well, but he looks like going to Ultra Ball that away.
Yeah, I find it a little dangerous to start taking your turn once the the Magical Ribbon has happened. I think generally you want to wait until the Magical Ribbon is concluded, because it almost could affect what your opponent grabs.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you could definitely not get an idea what he's looking for. Maybe some more time to think there. Although you can't see the card, so it's, I don't know.
You know what? But Mark, I'm sure Mark is digging for what he needs on his side. I don't think he's too worried about what
I don't
Mason's
think so
doing
either.
On this side, so it doesn't even matter.
And I think Mason knows exactly what he's grabbing here. He needs Ralts. He needs a number of other things.
Just keeping the game pace moving.
Exactly.
There's something to keep in mind, I think, in the future, like for people who are waiting for those, because we see it with Beacon too. It's like you want to be careful and wait until they finish out.
Yeah, definitely. It's important to pay attention to what is happening on the other side of the board. So Mason does play that Tapu Lele GX, grabs the Guzma here.
We're going to see that Entei coming to the active.
So the Entei comes to the active more than likely here, and then the Gallade, here comes the Gallade back up. And Mark just can't get anything rolling here at all.
And we did see, I believe I saw Mark grab DCE off that Magic Ribbon, so he should be able to set up this Sylveon. Hopefully being able to maybe Guzma something and plea if he can get the retreat off.
Yeah, and so, as you notice, he gets the Oranguru and 2 Ralts, so now this is what Mark wanted to see in turn 1.
Turn 1,
yeah,
right?
But didn't happen. But the good news here for Mark is that Mason didn't play the Inn last turn, so I'm sure he's okay with, I got the Gallade's gone, but you know what? I got to keep all of these cards, and I get the setup started. And you know as well as I do, Andrew, Gardevoir is never out until it's out.
Right. Is that Yogi Bear? Which one is that?
Yeah, right. There you go.
Now over till it's over.
Okay, so there's in there. So both players now will put the cards in their deck and move forward. But as we wait for the players to get their hands, how's Pokemon going for you lately? How's the deck building, and what are you leaning towards lately?
Oh, well, I've been loving Decidueye. I've been curious to see the Ninetales and Zoroark builds that are out there right now. I think with Shiny Legends being legal, I'm really curious to see what the future tournaments are going to look like. Yeah,
I've actually I've been playing that deck a lot. I really like it. It's interesting. I think it's one of those decks you need to play for a while to kind of master.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of different plays to happen there with that deck, but I'm definitely I'm going to keep playing it. Curious to see how it works moving forward.
Anything from Crimson Invasion you think might be coming up in the future?
I know Buzzwole's getting a big to-do right now, but I'm not sold on it yet. I don't know. We may not see anything until the next set comes out, and then some of these Ultra Beasts see more play. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting spot.
All right, so both players have their hands back, and see if Mark got anything off of that Inn that he can play here. Looking for a rare candy and a Gardevoir, although he couldn't this turn anyhow just because he's already set the Ralts down this turn, but he will Magical Ribbon again. Now here's the spot where Mason really needs to play an Inn, because now my opponent is getting those Gardevoirs ready to go, and that's not going to be good.
Let's see. He has one bench spot remaining. I don't know how many Lele he plays. He might just play the 2. Does he put 2 Lele down? Yeah, he does. Yeah,
it's got 2 Lele down, the Baby Volk and the other Volcanion. All right, so he does grab an Ultra Ball. Let's see what he goes for here. At this point, he may also want to get another Entei started rolling. Yeah, I don't see... Oh, Staryu.
Okay, so now he's got a pivot, so he can probably Guzma something and then retreat back. If I couldn't see if he has Guzman in hand, but that'll be nice to have if he can do that play. Maybe knock one of the routes out.
Yeah, that's the big thing playing against the Gardevoir matchup is like, okay, I got to get rid of these Ralts. These Curly is pretty quick,
right?
Because if you don't, man, the deck can just explode.
Yeah, once you start seeing 2 or 3 Gardevoirs out, it is like danger zone.
Yeah, definitely.
So, looks like he's gonna do the GX attack, take the knockout on the routes.
Yeah, so a good play there. Mason got a pretty good board set up here. He does have that Entei ready to go. So that's nice. Here comes the Fairy Garden. That's another interesting tech that Mark's added to his deck. I don't play the Fairy Garden, but I know that he really likes it, and I can see why he's playing it. Interesting enough here, though, Andrew. So he got the Rare Candy, the DCE, the Fairy Energy, and the Choice Band here, all in this turn. And again, now we're seeing the power of Guardy, and he's going to come up and hit for big numbers.
Yeah, that Magical Ribbon is like the star of the show right now. It is definitely making a huge comeback for him right now.
I remember when Guardy was first announced, I thought, man, Sylveon's so good for this deck. And now we're seeing it in play, and I love it because it is really,
it's really strong.
good.
If you know to grab 3 cards in your deck.
And I almost...
Man.
Yeah, and I almost feel like... I know the Sylveon deck was going around for a while, just like Quad Sylveon.
Yeah.
But my thing is, I think it's better as a tech.
I agree. I think with Sylveon, with the Disruption deck we saw, I think most popular last rotation was the fact that you could just disrupt, but it lacked a lot of you didn't have a lot of resistance whenever you got the first Sylveons knocked out. Really susceptible to being donked. But now it's seeing a more of a supportive role. It can still take advantage of that Magical Ribbon, but now it's got Gardevoir to back it up on the bench.
Well, I even remember my Mega Mewtwo build. I was playing Garbotoxin in that list, but then once Trashalanche came out, I threw just one of those in there. It was a great tech.
Right.
And I loved it as a tech rather than being a full deck, but it's neither here nor there because obviously I was wrong on that because Trashalanche has dominated so many things.
Hey, Mega Mewtwo just hasn't found its place.
You're right.
Right. But it's found our place in all our hearts, right?
That's right. That's right. I still wish we could play it. All right, well, back to what's at hand here. Mark, I believe, played an Ultra Ball there.
Yeah, he needs to get one, probably another Gardevoir set up.
Yeah, he needs to get that Ralts ready to go. So he does grab a Gardevoir GX, so that tells me he may have a Ralts in hand.
Oh, they might be in the discard, actually, because he had a few got knocked out early on. He's got one of them already in the active, evolved, so maybe one's prized.
You know, maybe he could also use a Rescue Stretcher here as well to pull that Ralts out. Not sure what he's got in hand, though. We need to get those hand cams like we were talking about last video. It's going to happen.
Yeah, eventually, we will get to a point.
Well, while you search at his deck, we appreciate you being here at Draw 7 TV, and we're going to continue to put more of these videos out. And Andrew, big props to you. Thanks for helping us out on this.
Well, hey, I'm glad to be here and watching some good matches.
And we need to plug your YouTube page later as well. Just remember to do that before we sign off of this one.
Absolutely.
All right, so Mark grabs that Gardevoir GX. Maybe just thinking a few turns ahead here and takes a huge knockout on that Entei because Mason doesn't have another one on the bench.
It's going to take him a while to get another one set up, too.
So maybe Mason's thinking here, okay, well, my Entei are gone. Maybe I just need to get these Volcanions set up and start attacking that way. Does get the max elixir there.
Yeah, I like that. You actually can almost just pivot into the Volcanions after a certain point because you can use the Power Heater attack for a turn now and get one Volcanion almost prepared for next turn. And then just going with Volcanion still hits pretty good numbers. Yeah,
they're both solid decks as well, or not decks, but attackers in the deck. So, yeah, I really like this idea, and I'm not seeing anybody playing Entei right now, which I think is cool for him to give this a shot and see what he can do with it.
Yeah, definitely it's cool to explore these new GX cards we have access to.
It really is. All right, so something interesting here as well is it took Mark several turns to get set up, and it's not even that Mason couldn't get set up, it's just the fact that Guardy can get set up so quick in a snap of a finger.
Once they're out, it's go time, and once you've committed your energy, you're doing half the Guardy's work for it.
Exactly. So there's another energy down there on the Volcanion on the bench, and so Mason now thinking, all right, I've got to attack with that next turn, hopefully get that Starmie out and do a lot of damage on this Gardevoir.
I saw, what's in his hand? It was a Acerola in hand. I didn't see if it was something else maybe.
Oh, and so Mark targets that now, will retreat with that Fairy Garden.
6, 7.
Yeah, so we're looking at 30, 60, 90, 130, 160 right now. So we need, what, one more energy on the board, it looks like?
Is that counting? Yeah.
And
there it is. Yep.
Wow. So hitting, yeah, a huge number.
Yeah, the only problem I'm going to see for Mark is that, well, he has one prize left, so Guzma would finish it, but once that Gardevoir's gone, he's going to be in a little bit of a rough spot.
Yeah, because Sylveon does 110 base, 140 with a choice band, not taking a knockout there. So, but you know what? I mean, in a lot of matchups, one Guardy's all you need.
Yeah,
so.
It is definitely putting its work in right now. It is taking control of the board state. It is taking a commanding lead for him now. Coming back, has 2 prizes left to take.
All right, so Power Heater there puts another 30 damage, and there's the Guzma off the Lele. Mark will just Guzma up.
I guess anything.
Yeah, and just takes a knockout and takes the win here. So a comeback victory.
Right.
For Mark.
It shows the power of Gardevoir. Even after a slow start, it can come back swinging.
Such a great matchup. And Andrew, go ahead and plug your YouTube page as well.
Yeah, so if you are you a fan of the old Pokemon like the Coliseum and the XD Gale of Darkness games, you can come find me at OG Grover. I'm doing currently a Let's Play through there.
Awesome.
Feel free to check me out.
Sounds good, man. Will do. And is it just OG Grover or is it OG
underscore Grover. You can also find me on Twitch, too, under the same username, OG Grover.
Yeah, and I'll plug our Twitch as well. Make sure to check us out at twitch.tv/draw7tv. And, hey, thanks a lot for coming back and doing this again.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
And I hope you guys enjoy the matchup. We'll have a few more videos coming up next week. Yeah, just keep liking, commenting, subscribe to our channel, and we'll keep putting out content. And we thank you so much for hanging out with us. And until next time, Andrew, we'll see you later.